Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and if you probably haven't already guessed from the title of the video, I've been car booting again. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a bit of a bust today. I was planning to go up to Chelford. That's one of the car boots I go to quite frequently when I'm, on a bit of a car boot hunt. It's quite a decent size. In fact, there's now two car boots in the same area. It's about a 15-mile drive from where I live, and when it's a nice day, it's usually a really good car boot sale to visit. Unfortunately, it rained all yesterday. This is meant to be the so-called hottest weather on record. It rained all yesterday. Got up about 7 AM this morning and it was still raining. It was absolutely miserable. I thought, there's no chance that the car boot's going to be on. It's not going to be worth going to. So I thought, oh, I'll have to give it up for today. Anyway, at 10:30, I keep thinking there must be something I can go and have a wander around. And then I remembered about New Smithfield Market. I think Andy and Mildred used to go up there quite often. And I had a look on the web, and apparently it's on till 1:30. They don't close the doors to the public till 1:30. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go. And I'm quite glad I did actually. It was, I got there, about 11:30, so really late for a car boot sale. And it was still buzzing. There was still plenty of stalls. There was still quite a lot of stuff there. It's both new and it's quite interesting. It's a market, as in there's various traders there, fruit and veg, meat, you name it, and it's a car boot sale at the same time. So it's a good all-rounder. I picked a few items up. I've got a bag here with some items in it, and I've got something on the floor which is a little bit special. Well, it's not something I was expecting to pick up from a car boot anyway. So I've got my brew. So I'll get the camera set back up, and we'll have a look what I've got in this bag first, and then we'll have a look at the other item, which the big ticket item, shall we say, that I picked up, which we'll leave best till last. So as I say, back in a sec. Right, okay, we're all set. A nice big space to work on. So I will get the first item that I picked up out. And the only reason I bought this is I felt sorry for the poor thing. And that is, it's a Roberts RM20 AM radio. It's slightly unusual in it's a little compact like tableside radio, but it's actually a mains only. It's a mains only set. I believe these were some of the very last Roberts sets that were like properly made in England. This one is in a shocking state. It's in the cabinet's poor on it. It's mostly there. We're missing one knob, one of the selector buttons there. I said this doesn't even have FM on it. It's just medium wave and long wave. The tuning control there is smashed and the bright's missing off it, but I'm pretty sure that's not a problem. I have replacements basically for those if indeed I do decide to restore this one. But it cost me £1. There's parts in here which are worth more than £1. So that's literally why I picked it up, like I said, and I felt sorry for it. I'm sure it would probably have only ended up at landfill if I hadn't have picked it up. I was going to say, shall we quickly pop the back off and have a look inside it, or shall we see if it actually works and put some power up it first? Let's throw caution to the wind. Let's put some power up it and see if it does anything. Not with that. It come with bare ends there, so we won't bother putting a plug on it. We're literally just testing. And no, we're not going to take an IEC lead like I see so many people do on YouTube and shove the wires in like that. We'll get the safe block out. Get that plugged in. what can I unplug? I can unplug my anti-static, because this isn't exactly static sensitive that we're working on. We'll plug the safe block in, and this is basically just a proper safe way of connecting something that doesn't have a plug on it to the mains. So we put that wire in there. We'll put that wire in there. We have a 3 amp fuse up there. Obviously you can change that out depending on what you're working on. I tend to keep a 3 amp fuse in here because I use it for old radios and things like that mostly. We'll shut that down. That energises the radio. So we've got power to the radio now. Let's switch on and see if it does anything. Does it? Oh. Something then. So we've obviously got a dodgy volume control. We've got no volume up there, but if I hold it just in the right place, yeah. Well, you get the idea. I think we've got something wrong with the volume control on it. But when we did get it there, we were getting static through by the sound of it. So I think the radio, it's got life there anyway. I'm sure in another video we can actually have a look, see if we can actually get that radio up and running. Like I said, this is not what this video is about. This is just a quick show and tell, look what I've picked up at the car boot sales kind of video. So anyway, like I said, that cost me £1. So if nothing else, it's fodder for a future repair video. We'll see if we can get it up and running and perhaps tidy the case up a little bit. To be fair, if I tidied it up a little bit, it'd be alright for use in my workshop down, my summer house workshop down at the bottom of the garden, somewhere like that. Because it wouldn't be so precious if something got dropped on it or if anything happened to it. Could even possibly look at perhaps fitting Bluetooth to it, do something like that. It might be a good candidate for a project like that actually. So yeah, that'll probably come up in a future video. Right, what have we got next? Now this is interesting. I've never actually seen one quite like this before. I'm sure Andy will be salivating over this. What we've got, this I believe is HMV, and this is a picnic radiogram. Sensationally, we open the lid. Now I will say first of all, before we even start, this thing is in a terrible state. This is in a very, very, very poor condition. But all the plastic's there. The plastic is actually in a reasonable condition. I'm actually quite surprised it has survived as well as it has plastics wise. What we do have an issue with though is that the volume and on control there is completely missing. There's nothing there at all. So yeah, that's going to be an issue. But apart from that, it is pretty much all here. What I think is the coolest thing is the tone arm on this. So we've got 33, 45 and 78 record turntable off there. An AM only medium wave radio. You ask, where is the tone arm? I think this is so cool on this. I didn't actually discover this until I got this home and had a quick look on it. But if you press that button there, there's your tone arm. Now, again, like I said, this is in a shocking state. It does have a cartridge in it, but the stylus is actually rotted away. There's green rot, so I'm sure the cartridge is dead in it as well. Obviously, like I said, unfortunately we can't really do very much with it as it is, for the simple fact there's no volume control, so I can't even tell whether the radio works or anything. What's it take power wise? Does it actually take mains in or not? I don't know. Or is it battery only? It could indeed be battery only, this thing. I believe this isn't English either. I think this is made, this is made in Japan. So this is a Japanese player which is just branded up as HMV. Oh, it looks like we do have a mains input on the back there. Oh, it's a good job I looked at that actually. It's not a mains input. That's actually DC 9 volts, it says. So we've got a 9 volt DC input on the back there. And I'm guessing it will take batteries here. Let's see what state the batteries are in. Oh, actually, not bad. If you can make out in there. Oh, what was that? Oh. Oh, there's our volume control. Complete with volume pot on the back of it. Oh dear. So yeah, we've definitely got some issues inside. Well, at least we've got that. And that, to be honest, I could take that off a scrap little pocket transistor radio. I think it's very much the same kind of volume control. But anyway, what I was trying to show you, oh, that's a nice surprise, but what I was trying to show you in there is actually the contacts are really nice and clean. I don't think it's ever had any battery leakage. Some battery leakage in it. I'll tell you what, I'll stick that in there so it don't get lost, or otherwise I'm sure I'll lose it before we get a chance to actually look at this thing. Now, I suppose what we could quickly try. Obviously, like I said, the radio is not going to do anything for the simple fact with no on and off and volume control there. But I wonder if we could get the turntable to rotate if we give it 9 volts DC. Maybe. That feels a bit rough. Oh, it's a standard idler wheel. See, it's a standard idler drive there. Right, I wonder if we can get this to play. Well, not to play, but to at least spin the turntable round. Connect it up to my bench supply and we can give it 9 volts. Just see if it does anything. So yeah, I know they're not going to get anything out of the radio without having the volume control there, but there we go, that's about 9 volts. That's plus on that side. Like that. That's neg on that side. Like that. Is the turntable going to go around? No. Perhaps you need the, perhaps you even need the volume control for that. Let's just see if the actual motor's turning or doing anything. No. So it could be that we actually need that that volume control. Yeah, because we're not even pulling any current on the. Well, let me show you up there. If we look on there, we're not actually showing any current being drawn. We've got 9 volts going in, but we should be showing some deflection on there when I switch it over to amps, and we've got nothing, so it's completely dead. Oh, that's cool. So that's how it does actually have a. Yeah. It's actually quite a nice. It's simple, but it's quite a nice mechanism. That. That's 78 down there. 45, 33. This obviously doesn't have it, but that spindle has actually got a 16 speed on it. It's just it's not used on this player. That's super cool. So I am pretty certain you will be seeing this in an upcoming video. We will do a definite, if not a restoration, we'll certainly do a resurrection video on it and see if we can get it to play. Like I'm pretty certain that the cartridge in the arm there is going to be trashed, but we can fit something that'll work. I've got plenty of modern little cartridges. I'm sure we could bodge in there and modify the circuitry to get working. So yeah, that's the next thing I bought, and again I paid £1 for it, so that's my next £1 purchase. Now let's get on to the slightly more expensive and vintage retro this time. Now I do have a number of these, but when you see one and it's at a reasonable price, you have to kind of, yeah. We've got another Master System. Now, to be fair, it's not in bad condition. I've got a few of these that are really banged up. They work, but the cases, you know, have been abused. This one, to be fair, there's a few very minor marks on it which we'll easily clean up, but apart from the fact that the spring's gone on the lid, that's easily fixed. The case itself is actually in really quite nice, really quite nice condition. So much so, it's a bit too nice to do a standard AV mod on it and mount holes in the back there. I do have an idea to actually use this for an experiment for doing a different AV mod where it's similar like I've done on Famicoms, where we use a 3.5mm jack, the four-prong 3.5mm jack, so it's got left-right audio and video on the same jack. I actually drill out the RF connector there so that the jack goes in that spot, and we basically don't modify any of the rest of the console. Like I said, I've done that on Famicoms where someone wanted a Famicom AV modding and they didn't want any holes drilling in it. We were saying about wires coming out like that, and instead I used one of those little connectors, and then basically one of I've got one here on my mini telly, basically one of these leads like that, and that then just plugged into the back of the console, and that gave you your AV outs like that. And like I said, that way you don't have to drill any holes in the actual console. I might actually use this for that, basically, doing one of them. I'm not even sure what game this is or anything. I paid £5 for it, and to be honest, if it was just that on its own and £5, it wouldn't take any less. I'd have left it, but it did come with an original Master System controller in good condition. That's what I've seen these £3 or £4 on their own. I've seen them a lot more than that on eBay, to be fair. The problem with I really like the original Master System controllers like this. I used to use one of these with my Amiga back in the 90s. I just preferred it to a joystick. I've always liked these as just a basic, just a nice little paddle controller, very much like the the original NES controller. It's very similar. It's even more basic than that though. So you've just got two fire buttons in your D-pad. The issues you have with these, and you see it all the time, is these D-pads here, basically that bit there breaks off. It's only held on with some plastic on the moulding round like that, and over time, and I think abuse, that plastic breaks away and this bit actually comes out and gets lost. This one is still in really quite nice condition. It might have a bit of, I can just notice there might be a bit of moisture in there. I think it did rain, they might have got rained on a little bit this morning. It was certainly all dry by the time I got to there anyway. But that's what made it worth buying for a fiver, was the fact that it did have a controller with the D-pad still intact. So I suppose best thing we'll do, let's especially seeing we've got a little analog. This has got an analog tuner built in. That's the thing with the Master System 2. Probably what makes them less popular than other consoles. These are RF only. Out of the factory, all you've got is an aerial socket, and you tune it into your TV. That's hence why I was saying about AV modding it. We can test this obviously because we've got a little LCD TV here which actually does have an analog tuner in it. So what do we need actually, thinking about it? We're going to need a cable to connect that to the TV, which I think I should have one lying around here. Ah, there's one. Yeah, this has been stuck together for a very long time because the tape's gone sticky. Yuck. Right. Oh, we're going to need some way of powering it as well, which case I will just pinch my Mega Drive power supply because that's suitable. And it's right over here because I was using the Mega Drive not long ago. Right. We can unplug the safe block now because we don't need that. Plug the power supply in. Put that to one side. That plugs in there. Okay. That's on, isn't it? Yeah, that's on. That's on. Plug that in there. We'll plug this into the aerial. Plug that in there like that. Right, now we should be able to tune this. We'll have to switch that on. That's on there. Switch. And then well, I thought this had a analog tuner in it. Like I said, I thought this had a analog tuner built into it. But I must be wrong. Yeah. I don't think this TV is going to work for us, unfortunately. So I was pretty sure this had an analog tuner built into it, but it obviously doesn't. Just bear. I know a TV that does though. Just bear with me a second, folks. I'm going to swap TVs over, and we'll be right back. Right, we've got an old school and CRT, but this has definitely got an analog tuner in it because it ain't got a digital one. So we'll switch this on. Switch the Mega Drive on as well. I've got some buttons there for auto search. I just need a little pin or something to press that in, and hopefully it should find this thing. I believe we just have to hold the button in for it to. We are on there, aren't we? Yeah, we're definitely on. I'll tell you what, folks, rather than you wait for hours for me to tune this in, let me I'll spend a few minutes tuning this in, and we'll come back when I've actually got a picture on the Master System, if indeed it's going to work. So back in a sec. Right, okay, I spent ages trying to tune it in, and then I realised I just pressed channel up. It came in on the first channel. Now, pay no attention to the fact all the colours are messed up. That's this TV. This TV needs some serious work on it. I've forgotten left a magnet on the top of the TV for ages, and it's completely screwed the geometry of the TV up, hence what we're getting here. It's not looking right at all. But the console itself appears to work. I'll just connect the controller up. So unfortunately it's another Alex Kidd. I think all but one of the Master System 2s that I've actually got are Alex Kidd in Miracle World. We'll see if the controller does anything. Yes, well, start worked. Yeah, controller seems to work. Oh well, never mind. But anyway, we've proved that the console works. Like I said, don't pay any attention to the fact that the screen's all messed up like that, because I'm pretty sure that that's the TV, not the console. But yeah, so we've got a working Sega Master System 2, and that was £5. So like I said, not the cheapest thing in the world, but it did come with a decent condition, and it is fully working. Obviously I will do a service on it and everything. But the controller's worth like £3 or £4 on its own, so yeah, that's quite pleased with that. Like I say, and that will probably be doing a video on that, doing an AV mod on it, where we don't modify the case in any way. Obviously we need to fix that as well. So again, something else for a video in the future. Right, now let me get this out of the way, and I can show you the big ticket item. That, when I say big ticket, it weren't thousands or anything, but it's more than I normally pay for stuff on the car boot sale, put it that way. But it's something I thought I'd take a gamble on. It's not something I'll probably be keeping. It's probably something that I'll do a little bit of work on, sort out, get right, and then pass on to a new owner. Because it's not something that I personally have a use for, although I did actually have a fair bit of experience working on them about 20 years ago. And that is, oh god, and it's bloody heavy, I'll tell you that. That. Basically what we've got here, this is an Akai Remix 16 sampler. This is a MIDI, basically a MIDI device. These were incredibly popular in the 1990s with bands and things. You can basically set sequences up on them, play them out. It's foot pedal controlled, it's MIDI controlled. You can use various MIDI devices to control this thing. It's, yeah, it is what it is. They are fairly obsolete nowadays. However, if you're in to this kind of music and various MIDI stuff, these are very, 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 very good machines. It should have a library of samples with it. Unfortunately, that's missing. I've got one of the sample discs. That's sample disc 2. At least we could probably use that for testing to make sure it works. That gives us an idea of the date. It's 1995. It would have been the late 90s when I had some input in these. What I mainly did with some of this Akai sample gear was basically put hard drives in them for people. These could have a either internal or external SCSI hard drive to save the samples. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have the SCSI card. You can tell because that expansion on the back there is where the SCSI would basically stick out. It was like the Mac style SCSI port, so you could run an external SCSI hard drive. But I don't know if this one's the same, because I'm not 100% familiar with this particular model. But a lot of them could also have a SCSI hard drive internally. And I got hold of a job lot of 80 megabyte SCSI hard drives at auction, and I put a number of them in various samplers and sequencers and things as upgrades for people, and they were more than happy with that because it gave them quite a decent storage space. We've got a MIDI there, foot switch control, headphones. That's our audio output there. We have two inputs on here, a phono input and a line input. One of the things about the Remix 16 is it's got basic mixer functions built into it. So you've got a crossfader, basic mixer, actually pitch control there. It's not like a proper like DJ mixer or anything like that. It just gives you some basic mix functions on the actual machine itself. I suppose best thing we can do is plug it in and see if it does anything. Story I got from this, there was a chap. Now this is the thing about getting there a little bit late. Sometimes you can pick the odd thing up, potentially a little bit cheaper, potentially have something you can make a little bit of profit on. Apparently what this chap was telling me is he'd cleared out a little home studio from a house. Said there was over 1,000 CDs and some keyboards, other various bits of equipment. There was as well as this on his, so he said he'd sold a lot of it first thing in the morning. He said there were a big some Roland mixer, a big thing that he sold very early on, and some other bits and bats. And this, this was left on the end of the stall. And anyway, when I first started looking at it, he said he'd been asking £100 for it, and because it was getting to the end of the day, if I was interested in it, he'd take £80 for it. There's no way you're going to get £80 out of me for something just off a car boot sale, not completely unknown. I put him a snide offer and I offered him 50 quid for it. He basically said, come back with 60. And I just said, no, I'll give you £50 for it, take it or leave it. So he took it. So yeah, it cost me 50 quid. I don't think I did particularly bad for 50 quid, to be honest. No, it's not perfect. We've got a fader knob missing there. It's obviously at some point in its past had something spilt on it, because I can see there's a little bit of corrosion around here, around that fader, a little bit around that button there. The button feels not perfect. Well, that button might be iffy. All the rest feel okay. It still has its 3.5 inch floppy drive. What a lot of people do nowadays is replace that with a Gotek. There's plenty on it. It's about £60, I believe, on eBay. You can get a Gotek flashed up, ready with all the correct software on it. Drop-in replacement for that. But to be honest, if that floppy works and I can possibly get the full set of discs for it, I might probably just leave it with the floppy in. I don't want to spend too much money on getting this thing perfect, but I would like to see if I can flip it for a little bit of profit, and if that means you're sorting a set of discs out, changing that fader, sorting the bits out on there, I'll do that before I attempt to sell it. First things first, let's plug it in and see if it does anything. unplug that. I put power up it. I believe there's a switch on the back somewhere. Where's the switch on the back? Right. Oh, it's there. Look, come on. It's showing R16 there. Stereo input. Sampler. So I am not 100% sure on this because it's got to be 20 years since I actually messed with like sequencers and samplers and stuff like this. I wonder actually, have I got any? I'll tell you what, I'll connect it up to my speakers and we'll see if we can make it do something. So back in a sec. As I said, it's a very long time since I've done anything with one of these. Well, I've got it connected up to the speakers. I've just managed to load a sample off the disc, and let's see if we can load another sample and put it on another. Like I said, it's so long since I've worked on anything like this. It's so it's a bit. It's definitely been a long time. Now hopefully we should have. Oh, I'm still in edit mode there. I've obviously messed something up there. Like I say, it's such a long time since I've played with this kind of equipment. I will have to get the manual out before I really know what I am doing. But the machine does appear to basically function. It's more the fact that I'm that out of touch with using one of these that I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I said, the good thing is that it appears that the actual floppy drive works. I can load sequencers, actually samples from the floppy disk. So not only does the floppy disk itself work, the actual floppy drive works. Oh, I think we've got it actually loading something now. Hopefully we might be able to get it to play back something that's it's got actually loaded in its right. Let me look. You can get the idea of the type of thing it can do. So these are all MIDI samples. You can just call them. You get the idea anyway, and there's basically various ones of those we should be able to load in. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further because, like I said, this video is already far too long. But it's going to need a little bit of work on it. Sort it out. Hopefully I can get a full set of discs. I believe it should be four discs for the complete sound library for this thing, and then that's the official key Akai sound library. There's then loads and loads, tens of thousands of aftermarket sound samples you can use. Any MIDI sound sample basically will work on this thing. But I think first thing I need to do is get the manual for it so I can actually familiarise myself with it. Like I say, I've not played, touched or used these kind of MIDI sequences, MIDI samplers for over 20 years now, so I need to brush up and really find out exactly what I've got here. But I paid 50 quid for it. I can't say I can have gone really that far wrong for 50 quid. I mean, to be fair, the 100 quid the guy was asking was a very, very, very reasonable price for it, but there's no way I was paying £100 for it, there's no way I was paying £80 for it, but 50, yeah, I thought I'd have a gamble. I've had a look on eBay, and in good condition I should get around about the 400 mark for it. Obviously this one's not A1. Hopefully we can tighten it up a bit and get as close to that as I can, and it means I've got a little bit of more spending money that I can throw at the channel. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little look into what I picked up this morning at the car boot. So thanks for watching and goodbye.